My work is mostly character driven, and so usually the character is the first thing that kind of invades my headspace, and I'll hear a voice, or I'll have a vision of a character in a moment, and then there's often just a long process of figuring out, okay, who is this person? What is the story? And a lot of times it's about what I'm going through, or what my community is going through. But I also am very interested in history, in correcting revisionist history. And so I'm often inspired when I hear about stories that most people don't know, or even I didn't know. Like I often feel compelled to tell those stories. So I've written quite a few plays that are based on historical events or historical people. And what I like to do is tell those stories. I like to make those historical events the backdrop. I'm really curious about people who are living during a historical moment, and how that impacted their relationships, how that impacted their relationships with themselves. So, there's a lot of reflecting, reading history books, reading sometimes fiction that takes place in those times. And then I like to jump in. Like once I start a draft, I like to really just jump in, and I don't usually outline and figure out the plot before I write that first draft. I kind of just like to see where the characters take me, and then the subsequent drafts I kind of figure out the best way to tell that story. I'm France-Luce Benson, and my play Talking Peace is premiering on Thursday, October 1st in the Together L.A. Virtual Stage Festival. And to learn more about my play and my work, watch this video. So, like everybody else, I'm zoomed out. Every day I'm zooming this and zooming that. And so when Simon first told me about this festival, that was one of the first things I thought, oh, I should write a play about people in a Zoom meeting, because it's become kind of absurd, that we're all kind of in this in the screens together all day. And I've done a lot of different kinds of Zoom meetings. I mean, I've done Zoom interviews, Zoom staff meetings, but I've also taught workshops over Zoom. I've had therapy sessions over, just you name it. And I did the idea for the play. I was actually part of a sort of kind of a healing circle / support group. And something like this did occur, where somebody who wasn't really part of the group came into the group, and the reaction I thought was, I just thought it was funny. And I was interested in exploring this conversation that we're having in the moment about identity. And not just in terms of, black and white racial politics, but even amongst Black Americans. There are so many nuances in terms of our identity and how we identify and how we perceive each other. I'm a first generationer, and it's always been a complicated conversation for me, because I grew up in America. I'm an American citizen. I feel very American, but I also feel very Haitian, and I'm very connected to that part of me. And it's complicated sometimes. And when Biden announced Kamala as his running mate, there was a whole, on social media, there were a lot of conversations about, is she Black, or she says she's this, she's that, what is she? And So I really wanted to explore that conversation, and I wanted to do it in a comic way. And again, I feel like so much of what we're doing on Zoom, if we weren't in this situation and just said, hey, let's do a, let's do an aerobics class on Zoom, it would just sound absurd, but it's become the norm. And so I just kind of wanted to look at that and poke fun of that, of how difficult it is for us to adapt. I don't want to give away too much, but I'll just say, it's about a group of women who come together on Zoom to kind of support each other and lift each other up during this time. And an outsider finds her way into the Zoom meeting, and it forces the women to sort of investigate what it means to be a person of color and what the term BIPOC really means, and just look at their own identities and their feelings about each around identity. I have an amazing cast. Many of them I've worked with before. Lisa Strum is an actor based in New York. I was based in New York for many years. I moved to LA 2 years ago. So Lisa, I've worked with her as an actor, and she's also directed my work. I knew as I was writing it, I just knew she'd be perfect for this. She's hilarious and one of the smartest people I know. And we've actually had conversations around this, so I knew that she'd be great in it. Celestine Allen is also a New York-based actress, and Paula Boit is a New York-based Haitian-American actress. I've worked with them all before and just knew they would be amazing. And Janelle Lawrence is an actor that my director, Dr. Daphne Sikere, had worked with and suggested her. And Miriam Ani, I actually met just before COVID changed our world. I was an adjudicator at the Kennedy Center American Theater Conference in Colorado. And they also did a reading of one of my plays that Miriam directed, and we got to know each other. And I just had a feeling she would bring something really special and funny to the role, which she did. I'm just amazed at what they were able to create in a short amount of time over Zoom. It really is an amazing cast. What I want the audience to get out of, well, first of all, I want them to laugh. I'll be totally transparent. It's a comedy. I want to bring a little levity to this moment that we're in, which is so stressful and pretty depressing. And I would also like the audience to, underneath the laughter, to really, I'd love for it to inspire conversations in their own communities about what BIPOC means, what it means to be a person of color, who gets to claim that. I would love audience members to think about what it means to take up space in an environment that was maybe not intended for you. Where is it okay for us to take up space, and what ways do we take up space, and what does that do to the people in that space? How does it change the dynamic? And it's it's all women. I would love for it to feel like a kind of an uplifting play for women, particularly Black women. I would love for Black women to watch it and feel affirmed and somehow empowered, and feel like they've been represented in a positive, nuanced way with laughter. That's number one. I want people to laugh. I'm really excited about the Together LA virtual stage festival because there are so many theaters involved. So I'm really excited about just seeing all the other work. My night, where my play runs Thursday, October 1st, and the other playwrights include Nambi Kelly, who wrote Native Son and it's just like on fire, and Bernardo Cubria, who's a really well-renowned. So I feel really honored to be um, on the same bill as these other playwrights, and I'm really excited to see what they've come up with and what all the other theaters. I'm really curious and excited to see what they've come up with, and I know that the way that the festival was produced, we were asked to write plays that would translate well virtually, and there is some production value. The plays have been edited, so I'm really curious to see what the other theaters came up with and what it's going to look like visually. I think it's going to be pretty exciting. The SoCal Los Angeles audience, I really strongly encourage us to support this festival, to support all of the plays in the festival, to support all these theaters. Los Angeles does have a very vibrant theater community, and there are theaters who produce really incredible, extraordinary work. There are a lot of playwrights here in LA now, I think probably more than ever. And this is a really difficult time for theaters everywhere, not just in LA. And so I think it's really important for us to support these theaters as much as we can. And this festival also, proceeds are going to organizations that are working to end police brutality. If they go on the website to reserve tickets, they'll see that information, that proceeds of this festival are going towards the fight against police brutality. So I hope everyone will support Together LA, the virtual stage festival, and please tune in on Thursday, October 1st to see my play, Talking Peace, directed by Dr. Daphne Sikre. That evening, there are also plays by Nambi Kelly and Bernardo Cubria, and I really hope that you will tune in.